believe. Yes. Of 30 days, best of 30 days of sketches with Christy's Beautiful Life. And I've had to, the reason I'm doing that is because I had to zoom in on this just a little bit. So this sketch here has a heart with a couple of circle photos, just some kind of embellishments, and blah, blah, blah. And I saw this, and I don't know what made me think of it, but I got very excited because I decided to make a ginormous shaker pocket. I haven't made a shaker pocket in 100 years. Gosh, it's been forever and ever and ever. But I decided to do that, and I've got these pictures here. These are just a couple of selfies my daughter sent me, but I'd use that fancy app. And I think I can cut little circles out of these. I hope so. I'm hoping I can get that to work. If not, I may end up using squares because I do like these pictures. And what I've done is I got into this set of papers here, which is a paper pad by Prima called Traveling Girl. It's pretty. It's got like, the general theme of it is travel. It's got like Paris and Japan, you know, kind of those kinds of things, suitcases and whatnot. But it's also got some really cute patterns, just plain patterns. Now what I decided to do here is I also got out into my, I should show you. I got into my stash and I had this Bella Boulevard. It's called Stars Ice. It's like stars in like a turquoisey color. And I pulled out this piece of cardstock. So what I've done here is I've laid this cardstock. I wanted to just frame it. I just like the look of that. And then I did get this piece of paper here that I just cut out a little heart. And what I did is on the back side of it, I folded it in half and I used a pencil and made a little heart. So that's going to be my heart. And then I'm going to put this behind it. And then I'm going to use foam tape to lift it up. Now what I do need to do too is I'm going to have to like ink the edges of this because in the sketch it shows like stitching. And I'm not doing any stitching because I just don't do that. But I think I can make these two pictures look kind of neat on the side here. And I think that looks kind of cool. I haven't a title figured out. I haven't any embellishments figured out. But I just got really excited about this particular design. So this is what I'm going to start with. And then I'll do some other little things here. But anyway, that's where I'm starting. So let me get the foam or the shaker pocket piece put together here. And we'll come back soon. Talk soon. All right, so what I have done so far off camera was I went ahead and matted that turquoise cardstock to solid, and I have inked the edges of that paper. I've inked the edges of this little pattern paper with the houses and the balloons, and then I inked the edges of the inside of the heart. And now I'm taking this little sheet of acetate here, and I'm going to use a little bit of double-sided tape, and I'm going to attach my acetate. Now, I actually end up liking how this pocket turns out, but you'll see in a minute, I still managed to make a hot mess of my beads, but it's okay. It's okay. It works out. It actually looks pretty cool. I sent my daughter a picture of this layout once I got done, and she's like, oh, that's so pretty. So it turned out pretty good for my first shaker pocket in a while. Well, it doesn't really matter. We'll talk about it in a second. Anyways, I'm going to use this double-sided tape. I'm getting this acetate down. That all works pretty well. Now what I'm about to do is take my pen and I'm going to go ahead and draw the faux stitching. I initially told you that, you know, I don't do stitching, which I don't even have a needle here, y'all. If I tear anything in this house, I'm in trouble because I don't have nothing to fix it with. But anyway, I had inked the edges of the heart, but I still just felt like it needed a little more definition. So I just took my ink pen here and just went around the edges with a little stitching, a little faux stitching. And in the end, it's not like it stands out. Like if I'm looking at the layout, it's not the first thing I see by any stretch of the imagination. But I do think it kind of closes in that heart a little bit just to give it some, finishing touch there. So anyway, I'm going to go around my ink pen here. It's just, like I said, quick faux stitching and no big deal. And then I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to start putting this foam tape down here. Now I'll leave this little bit here in so you can kind of see. But I have these real skinny little foam tapes and they're really flexible. So it's nice. I can kind of curl it around the heart. And I use the full strips where I can. Here in the little point, I'm going to end up with a little gap for a second, but I do fill it in. No worries. Anyway, I'm going to just show you guys how I do this part. Now the next thing, I'll end up cutting it out, and then I'll kind of show you the finished result. But I'll end up putting the foam tape around the outside edges, and then I'll put some kind of in the dead space, as it were, so that when it's on top of the main pages, it doesn't sink in or whatever. Although in the end, I still end up with a little bit of trouble, but again, it's okay. All right, so here's just where I'm filling these couple little small gaps here. And the intention behind this, when you have this dimension here, is when you put your beads in the middle, it allows them to kind of freely move if you've never made a shaker pocket. So now you can kind of see where I've got the foam tape kind of throughout the page, and I've pulled off the sticky backs. I'm going to set it aside for a second. I did take a really, really light pencil and mark the center of the page where the heart kind of was, and I'm going to empty this entire bottle of beads in here. There's some old Queen and Company beads. It's little collections, color collections. This color collection does have a little orange in it. And so it's a little bit of a, you know, but in the end, and it's even got a little brown in it. But honestly, I think it looks good. It affords some contrast to the pattern paper. So while it might not be the most natural collection, or excuse me, color palette with this, I think it still looks good. Now here's where I messed up. I lay this down here, and I think I've pressed everything down before I start moving these beads around, and I really kind of didn't. And so some of my beads end up underneath my tape around the edges of my heart. It's not a big deal, and I actually end up kind of beating it later off camera a little bit to kind of straighten it out. But yeah, I had a little snafu there, a little bend in there, but I'm not even sure you can tell as I'm assembling this thing. Now, as you can see, I did decide against the circle photos. When I started putting my dies on top of it, I was going to have to cut off too much of the side of the pictures by putting a circle because of the height or whatever. And so I decided to go ahead and stick with the square. So I did deviate from the sketch a little bit. This is where I'm kind of beating on the edge of that heart. Like I said, I'm kind of a little disappointed that happened because I tried so hard to keep it in the middle, but somehow or another I didn't press it down enough before I started messing with the beads. But in the end, like I said, it's not a big deal. So I'm going to use double-sided tape on the photo to hold it down. While I do the ATG gun, that's a pretty good solid adhesive, I just got a little bit worried because this is laying on top of paper and acetate and all the things. So I thought, I'm going to use this double-sided tape because I know that's going to stick. So I'm going to layer these pictures on top of each other. And again, there's not really... This isn't a specific event or anything like that, so my title is going to end up being Happy Vibes, and you'll see me assemble that in a minute. At the moment, I haven't pulled it out. I haven't even decided what the title is, but I know that's where I'm going to end up. Here is where I went in, and I pulled out my hip kit stuff because they have clear stickers. Sorry about my head there, but what I'm trying to figure out, I had hope originally was to stick the clear sticker over the top of the acetate, and you would, be able to see that, but... alas, it wasn't going to show. So I decided to stick it on some white cardstock. I did layer 2 different little title pieces to make Happy Vibes. I layered it on white cardstock and fussy cut it out. And then I had these really hot pink doodlebug doilies. And I really like how this goes. It's just kind of off. In the sketch, it was like little leaves, I think. But I'm using these instead to kind of create my little my little visual triangle here. And I'm going to put these underneath the pictures and the title, and then you can kind of see where I've got them. Now, what I'm going to do next is I have some little butterflies for my hip kit. I'm really stash busting here, y'all. I am pulling stuff from all over the place. And I have those right there. That's where they are. They're a hip kit. They got a little silver foiling on them, and I'm just going to arrange a few butterflies. Again, the sketch had like little leaves, but I'm going to use these little butterflies instead. Now, in the sketch also, there was like a little bit of like either subtitle or journaling or what you want to call it underneath the title. I don't actually end up doing that. I pulled out some hip kit stickers. They were actually clear phrases and I kind of liked them. But once I put all these pieces together, I thought, I'm going to take away from my title, and I really didn't want to do that. So I ended up not doing that actually. I'm just finding my butterflies. I do end up using little glue dots to glue these down because I didn't want to put it underneath the wings. Because I didn't want to take away from the butterfly wings. They're they're clear. They're also made out of like a frosted acetate with a little silver foiling on them. So the whole thing has just got this cool, everything you can see through. It's kind of neat. Anyway, I'm going to go through my butterflies here with my little glue dots. Yeah, I really like this app. I know I saw some recent scuttlebutt online that it's like, oh my gosh, it's information stealing or whatever. And so, I don't allow it to do certain things, but in the end, I still think it's neat. I think it turns everybody into a romance novel star or romance novel cover star. Anyway, my daughter just looked really pretty, so I really liked it. All right, so I got my butterflies down there, and now I'm just kind of picking them up. I'm one of those, I do pick up while I'm doing my projects, y'all. Are you one of those, or do you just kind of let everything go around? I'll kind of work with it, but then at some point, like halfway through the project, or depending on what I'm doing, I decide there's just too much crap on my desk, and I have to clean it. So, anyway, I'm going to put all that stuff to the side there. I'm looking at those again, those little titles and stuff. Nope, not going to use anything off of there. So I'm setting all that to the side. I did decide to get out some Mr. Huey's white opaque. The sketch shows like little dots. I'll also end up adding some pearls, little half pearls. But for the moment, I'm going to put this white opaque ink on here. I do end up mishing around on my hand, honestly. In a second, I'm going to get these little pearl things to put them on. At first, I wasn't going to, and then I thought, no, you need to add a little something. So I'm going to go get these little Kaiser Craft pearls. And I'm going to stick them on here, but I end up getting my hand all up in the white paint. And then I find there's a little bit on my title over there that I end up having to wipe off with a little napkin. But it's not quite dry, so it's easily wiped off. So here's where I'm just sticking my little half pearls. I was thinking about using the whole sheet. I don't end up using the whole sheet. First off, 2 of them I lose. I don't know where they pop up or they don't stick or something. They're T90 and I lost them. I don't know where they went. And then 2 of them I thought were just a little bit too big. So I ended up not using all of them. But I do use quite a few of them. I even put some of the little half pearls on top of the acetate up in between the 2 pictures. But I do that toward the end so you won't see that for just a second. But I ended up putting all these little pearls on here. Basically where the sketch showed things. Again, I'm just kind of, you know, obviously I've gone a bit rogue, but I'm still trying to stick to the spirit of the sketch here. So anyway, I put these little pearls on here, and I think this looks really pretty. I'm having a good time with this series, again, the best ofs. I know I recognize a few of the sketches in here, but that's all right because sketches are intended to be inspirational anyways. I may decide to rotate. I rarely rotate. It's really funny. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll decide, you know, halfway through or something, I'll start rotating sketches or something like that. Especially if it's one I recognize. I might try to do a little bit different angle. But anyway, so I got all my little pearls down here. Well, not quite, almost. Not quite. You can see I'm almost done with my little sheet. I'm kind of looking at it and then I'm contemplating, and this is where I decide, yep, go ahead and put some of those little pearls on top of there. I was worried at first that maybe it was going to be too deep or like, you know, too much dimension, but nope, it looks cool. So now that acetate, I got beads underneath, I got stars on it, and now I got a few little pearls on there. So that little section right there is just a little bit fun. And you saw me pick that up and you can see the beads are moving around. I really thought this was fun, honestly. I haven't, like I said, I haven't made a shaker pocket in a long time. And I really enjoyed it. It just, for some reason, this sketch just screams shaker pocket. And there we are, guys. I'll slow it down so you can see some of this dimension here. I think it turned out really pretty. It's bright, it's fun, it's colorful, it's got a lot of energy in it, a lot of movement. Anyway, this is a good sketch. I encourage you to try it. Anyway, join the Facebook group. Check out the playlist with everybody's videos. Everybody's doing a great job. I've been watching as many as I can. And even though I got a job to do, but, you know, you can put on silent, right? Anyways, we'll talk to you soon. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.